Don't worry. Just like you, I hate me too for making this video. Today we're talking about Vancouver Canucks center star Elias Pettersson, and we're going over Mathew Barzal of the New York Islanders. The reason we're talking about these two guys is because of a post I saw on Reddit that kind of just compares and contrasts the two in a way that we have sort of been doing already in the past few months. I say this because when it comes to Petey and Barzal, these two guys have a lot in common. Mathew Barzal made his name known in the 2017-2018 season as a rookie for the New York Islanders, where in his season debut, he had himself over a point per game. As a first-year player, he had 85 points in 82 games played, and it was good enough to put him in first place in the Calder voting that season. This was also Brock Boeser's rookie year, wherein he actually had, in my opinion, a very legitimate chance at winning the Calder Trophy, until Jake Virtanen pulled off the Silk Sonic in a game against the New York Islanders, where when he was doing a line change, he ended up leaving the door open, and Brock Boeser, trying to hit Cal Clutterbuck, was sent into the open door. Yeah, it kind of really messed up his back. And he missed the rest of the season because of that, and Barzal ended up running away with the Calder race had Brock Boeser actually stayed in the NHL for the remainder of that year and sustained his goal and point production. I honestly do think he would have had a good shot at winning the Calder because he had a similar, if not a little bit lower of a points per game rating than Barzy, but he also had a lot more goals proportionate to Barzal and his secondary assists back in that season. He was also playing with John Tavares, that Mathew Barzal was. So, in my opinion, Brock Boeser probably should have been the Calder winner had he had been healthy, but obviously the Calder is not awarded to the rookie who happens to be the best player. It is awarded to the rookie who has the best season, which is most certainly what Mathew Barzal had as a rookie. Mathew Barzal's rookie season, though, was never really matched in any other year of his career, as after John Tavares left, Mathew Barzal was all of a sudden going to be the guy on this team, and you could kind of see the point production as his career went on. 62 points in 82 games played in 2018-19 following his rookie campaign, 60 points in 68 games in 2019-20 before that season got shut down, and in the postseason he has been a particularly good producer as well. However, this season, the New York Islanders are bad. If you take a look at where they are in the NHL standings, hey, they are dead last in that Metro division, and it's by quite a big margin, too. They've got 12 points in 17 games. They've lost 8 in a row in regulation. They're behind everybody in the Eastern Conference, with the exception of the Ottawa Senators. And I get it, Montreal has 6 games in hand, and they have 2 more points than the Islanders. The Islanders certainly are not last in terms of point percentage, but just in terms of the way they're playing in comparison with their division, they're really not looking like a team that has made the third round twice in a row. And for Mathew Barzal, even though this guy is seen as an elite, borderline franchise caliber center for the club that is supposed to be a point-per-game guy because he was that in his rookie season, Barzal has gone out there with 8 points in 17 games played, which, if you do the math on that, 8 divided by 17 multiplied out by 82, he's on pace for 39 points, which would be a very significant career low. Now, it's really funny when you talk about Mathew Barzal because this guy is making $7 million a year until 22-23, and he signed this extension back in 2020. It's a 3-year contract for Mathew Barzal, and when it comes to this contract was seen by many people as the biggest contract comparison to one Elias Pettersson. Elias Pettersson, if we kind of look at his story over here, hey, guess what? He made the NHL and he was a Calder winner too. 66 points, 71 games played in 2018-19, so the year after Barzal was a rookie. And as you can see in Pettersson's career, he has always sustained that point per game, just under a point per game mark. 2019-20 saw him get the same 66 point mark in 68 games played this time, and he was over a point per game in the bubble, where he was an absolute monster. Even last season on the Vancouver Canucks squad that was riddled with the virus and just wasn't a good team, Pettersson had 21 points in 26 games played before missing out on the remainder of the season with an injury. He was always a point-per-game guy, and his contract ended in the 21 offseason. And it's really funny because if you remember the negotiations for Elias Pettersson, everybody kind of had 1 or 2 other comparables in mind when talking about a potential contract. You had other elite, borderline franchise caliber centers that were being used here in Braden Point in Tampa Bay, and Matthew Barzal of New York. As we noted, Barzal's extension saw him making $7 million a season for 3 years. Elias Pettersson got a very similar number, 7.35, over the next 3 years till 23-24. But now, Elias Pettersson this season has been bad. 10 points, 22 games played. If you do the math on this season and you divide everything up, 10 divided by 22 multiplied out by 82, hey, guess what? Elias Pettersson is on pace for 37 points as well. Matthew Barzal and Elias Pettersson, the 2018 and 2019 Calder winners, are both scoring at under 0.5 points per game. This is the Reddit post posted by Sahil910. Barzal with 8 points in 17 games on pace for 38 points. Pettersson with 10 points in 21 games. It was 21 when the post was made. 22 now. It'll be 23 today after they play Montreal. On pace for 37 points. This is the top comment that I really wanted to highlight here. When Petey was negotiating, I thought Barzal was a really solid comparable. But, not like this. Not like this, indeed. And, you know, it's kind of funny because if you want to take a look at why these two guys are in the positions that they are, they're in the positions for very different circumstances. Elias Pettersson has just straight up disappointed this year. I know you could say, oh, he's still getting points, he's going out there doing his thing. The guy has gotten 1 point in his last, okay, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. And if you want to take a look at the last time he had himself a 5-on-5 point, okay, let's go back even further, because the last time Pettersson had a 5-on-5 point, it was against the New York Rangers. It was a 3-2 overtime win, and Elias Pettersson got the 5v5 assist on JT Miller's first goal of the night. That was Pettersson's last 5v5 point, as all the other points he had gotten had either been shorthanded or actually power play points as well. And, I mean, that was at the beginning of November. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games ago. Pettersson hasn't had a 5v5 point in a month. I hope he gets one today, just to go out there and prove me wrong, just to say that he has it in him still. But for Pettersson, he has straight up been disappointing. For Matthew Barzal, it's a little bit of a different story. Now, Barzal has gone pointless in his past 5 games, but a lot of Islanders fans are going to give Barzal the benefit of the doubt, not in the same way that Canucks fans are harping on Pettersson. Why? Because Matthew Barzal is playing mostly with some fourth-line caliber players in Zach Parise and Richard Panik. For some reason, these guys are your top-line wingers. If you take a look at where they are, Parise has 3 points in 17 games, and Richard Panik is at 1 point in 4 games. So, yeah, great way to diversify your lines, great way to go out there and deploy your players. I get it, Brock Nelson is out, and he's your leading point scorer, and he's been missing some time, so you have to switch things around, but just this kind of lineup, dude. Panik, Barzal, Parise, this is your first line. Barzal's going out there with half a point a game, under half a point a game, producing with some of the worst line mates he has ever played with. Like, I'm sorry, Zach Parise was supposed to be a big get for the Islanders, but he has been so disappointing. And I don't think there's anybody that's a fan of the Islanders that would disagree with that sentiment here. Like, come on. The guy went out there with 18 points in 45 games last year. He's at 3 in 17 this year. He's gotten even worse, and it's kind of crazy to think that that was even possible. There's a reason he's only making $750,000, but like, he got bought out for a reason, eh? So, even though Pettersson and Barzal are both in very similar boats, statistically speaking, very good, very solid players, Calder winners who are point per game or just around the range of point per game the entire other span of their careers, these two guys have disappointed very heavily in terms of production and just pure hard numbers this year. Pettersson because his overall body of work has been disappointing, Barzal because he's playing with bad line mates. Talk to me in the comments if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan or a New York Islanders fan. What are your thoughts about these two guys? The Islanders have themselves a little bit of breathing room until their next game. For Vancouver, they're literally playing Montreal later tonight, so yeah, hopefully Pettersson goes out there and proves me wrong. I've been saying that in every video we've had where we've critiqued the guy, that yes, I want Pettersson to be good. I would rather have him as a point-per-game player than not. It's just the cold, harsh reality that right now he is playing well below that standard. So, talk to me in the comments. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed. This was Josh Rolls 99. And bye.